Hey guys, while I am working on this handsome fella for a painting competition, I needed to make a break from him. This ogre is at this point 3 weeks into production. The sense of not completing something was driving me crazy, and I found this muscular lady. A quick and dirty 4-hour paint job then. The model got a primer and black AK undercoat through the airbrush. Nothing fancy and worth watching, let's skip that. This, as mentioned, was supposed to be a dirty and quick job. Something I could say was done and on the shelf in a few hours. No blending included. Just strong layers of paint. Therefore, I wanted to put as much focus as possible on the skin. The rest was not that important. This fantastic model has very intricate details and it would be a shame not to make them pop. I had no intention of googling for our specific skin types and looking for the paints. Normal Caucasian skin here. The only thing I knew is that I wanted it to make the brightest points almost white. Bugman's glow is a great start for this type of paint job. The paints for the highlights were as follows: Cadian Flesh Tone, Kislev Flesh and Vampiric Flesh. To make the transitions a bit smoother, I made mixes between each tone and started layering them. What is the golden rule here? We don't want to invent the wheel again, but have a look at what Sergio Calvo is doing to his models. He is a great inspiration, link to his channel will be in the video description. Getting back to the paint job. The closer to the light, the brighter the skin color. We start with an all-out base paint job and then paint the upper areas with the brighter tone. A safe method is doing it to the 80% of the previous color, and so forth and so forth. If you have a strong light source, the 80% proportion can change. The same applies of course if the light source is weaker. Take the middle tones and the highlight tones you have, make as many mixes as possible and start painting, depending on the size of the miniature and the amount of paint mixes you have. Just remember to make lines between each muscle group. They cannot be islands of colors, as this is not how muscles are lit. For the sake of speed, I took 3 blue paints for all of the cloth parts. To my surprise, it worked out really well. What we need to understand here is that every color we choose somehow determines our next paint. Of course, you can mix whatever you wish on your model and make ginger hair with red clothes, but I knew after painting those clothes that the model will not have blonde hair. To illustrate this, have a look at those 2 color mixes from our favorite cartoon models. Superman, the original drawing, has 3 main primary colors as base paints. Even his hair has a blue tint. It mixes well and is okay for the eye. This is something called a color triad. Another example is Orange Piccolo. Here we have 2 complementary colors on the opposite side of the color wheel. Different hues of purple and yellow. We get the occasional white and dark, but those don't register on the color wheel and can be put anywhere. Therefore the hair got a black base and 2 shades of grey as highlights, without finishing it on a very bright silver or off-white. This would make her age a bit, as it would look she has grey hair and the black is just in the shadows. The fur elements on the shoes and on her skirt as well as the wooden parts of the axes were treated in a very similar manner. 3 shades of brown without going full light. If you do it this way, you let your eyes not focus much on those details, as our sight is attracted to high contrasts, and I didn't want this to be in any way a distraction from the skin and the axis blades. There were 3 shades of grey on the palette, so I added 3 brighter ones and started doing the metallics. I painted all of the metallics using those colors, focusing on big contrasts on the blades of the axe. Those should always stand out on the model, but it is, as mentioned previously, completely up to you where you will put your focus on the model. The miniature was almost done and there were just a few details to do. The axes got a spray of fluorescent blue ink, and those signs on the axes were first painted white and then with a game color fluo paint. Afterwards it was just dry brushing and stippling the base with some colors I had on the palette and the old trusty grass tufts. Let's see the finished model. In my opinion, she looks great for such a quick paint job. Very often when I paint it is so monotonous and time consuming that I really want to quit and put the model aside. This is a way that works for me, taking a quick paint job where I can test some ideas and I don't feel bad, if the model won't turn out great. What do you guys think? Leave a comment, I will really appreciate it. As always, thanks a lot for joining me today, you are all super spectacular and I really mean that. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, give a like, give a share, leave a comment, have a look at my Patreon and Instagram, join the Discord. Links to all of them will be in the video description. Take care guys and see you on the next one, and don't forget, the Emperor protects.